Hello, One Nuts and Humpty Dump Nuts. It is Monday, March 17th in the United States and Canada, and this is a show called What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. And I should remind folks that as we get into all of these college tournaments, whether they be basketball or hockey, Prize Picks is a good place to be. My name is David Bean. I sit beside Peter Blackburn, and over just there across the room is Sean DePaz. Hello, everybody. I hope that you, Sean, had a great weekend.
I had a pretty solid weekend. I hope you had a great weekend, Pete.
Thanks, Sean. I hope you had a great weekend too, Deej.
I gotta say, I had a great weekend. I did a lot of I hiked. You ever do that?
Yeah.
You show up to hike, and like right away, it's like, here's what to do if there's a fucking like. It's always an animal that you thought was like reserved for Marvel movies. Like, you know that Wolverines are an actual animal?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Fuck that.
I was far too old when I realized that narwhals were a real animal.
I don't know what that is still.
They're the whales with the unicorn horn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The fakest looking animal of all time. I think I'm very valid in not realizing that was an actual animal.
Wolverines aren't a threat to humans, though, are they?
I do not know.
They look like an animal. Not to judge
when
a
the
book by
claws
its
come
cover.
out?
They look like an animal that is like just rips cats' heads off.
Well, you look like somebody who's celebrating St. Patrick's Day.
You don't.
Sounds like
Sean.
Yeah, you don't.
I know.
Conscientious objector.
Perhaps
Not
great
wearing
job.
the ribbon.
Perhaps I just forgot. I did my St. Patrick's Day stuff on Friday. Go to the fam's house. My dad makes the corned beef.
The boiled dinner.
It's just a bunch of salt in your face.
Today is my grandma's birthday, so happy birthday to her.
And you.
And me.
Share a
Thank you.
birthday.
I didn't know that for the longest time I thought we were Irish just because her birthday was on St. Patrick's Day. Not how that works.
That's very cute. Look at us grab-assing. We're just so happy to be back together for another week. We've got a packed week, a lot of fun stuff coming up. Today's show is loaded, though. So, Pete, if
I was going to run away, but go ahead.
I mean, I could take a crack at interpreting what's on the show today.
Go ahead, do it.
Ooh.
I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't like doing that either. I can filibuster. Yeah, I told you got to get Q there, and Pete will explain why.
Well, someone put it out. You could put on your Fleet jersey if you wanted to.
I thought about it.
If you wanted to do the theme.
Oh, Deej. Yeah. I thought about it today, but this is like the perfect day for the green Hockey East shirt because it is Hockey East week, and I'm very excited.
Should I change into my Stars jersey? You can do that.
Isn't it black, though? It's the green. I forgot.
Yeah, go do it.
Actually,
your coordination is too good today to mess that up.
It is a good outfit.
Today on the show, Sarah Palin finally wins something.
That's not fair. She won the governorship of Alaska.
I mean, she won the ticket to be vice presidential candidate.
I feel
that is an honor that not a lot of people have held.
Being the vice presidential candidate is like the first person to lose, basically. Like you just didn't win your primary, most likely, and then the guy that did picked you.
Chat is exclusively talking about pinching me. I forgot that was a thing. If you don't wear green, somebody pinches you. I like the way Dr. Smacken phrased it, which was DJ with a one-way ticket to Pinchtown. Maybe later.
Costco Kings. That works in multiple ways because the Costco Guys may have saved the Los Angeles Kings season. We'll get to that in a little bit. Thomas Drance is going to join the show to talk Elias Pettersson and the Canucks, who are somehow still relevant in the conversation after all the times we've talked about them this year. Maybe more relevant than ever at this point, honestly. So excited to talk to our guy Drance. And finally, are the Colorado Avalanche too horny?
It's a great discussion, and I can't wait to have it. Let's begin with Sarah Palin, because on December 18th, we shared a video discussing a Sarah Palin tweet about the Rangers. We thought it was really neat that Sarah Palin was talking hockey. We always say grow the game. Sometimes when we talk about Sarah Palin talking hockey, people respond to us, no, shrink the game. We don't want any of that. But we were very interested in what Sarah Palin was talking about. Here is a quick clip encompassing our discussion about her tweets about the Rangers. Sarah Palin weighed in on the New York Rangers. It's now or never for seismic shakeup to salvage season. What's in the middle?
A boxing glove.
A boxing glove.
So,
so she wants him to call up Rempe.
She wants Matt Rempe back.
No, that is what it is. It's like a video that she posted on her Instagram story of Matt Rempe, like putting his hand up to his ear after a fight. And it says, it has a poll under it. It says, want more Rempe style, old school, fierce and fervor, ? And then the options are yes, NHL needed this. No, I don't like alpha males on the ice. Those were the two options.
Oh my God.
You got so much attention on you right now. The heat is too hot. Do something. Get Palin off your case.
You know how many goals the New York Rangers scored last night against the Nashville Predators? The answer would be 0. I don't think that Matt Rempe, notorious goal scorer, is the solution to their problems.
I don't know. Sarah Palin said so. She can see Russia from her house.
I honestly enjoyed all of that. I will admit I had forgotten about it until I believe it was Friday night, correct? On March 14th, Sarah Palin quotes a Molly Walker tweet about Matt Rempe by posting the video you just saw with the caption, "Don't know the little guy in the Blackhawks hat, the one full of angst, but no doubt easy to rile up just mentioning whack officiating against #Rempe, #NYR. So here you go, you anti-Rempite, you."
She thought she clicked with that one.
With, she thought she did because she fucking did. With a smiley face. And one more time for the boys in the back who don't listen, #Tina Fey. And then posted a clip from Jeopardy in which the answer was Tina Fey and the question was Tina Fey and the answer was this person who actually said, as Sarah Palin, she can see Alaska from her house. Pete, I thought she cooked, but I just want to get it from the horse's mouth. Your reaction to seeing all this?
Oh, it was electric. And she cooked. She cooked and clocked. She clocked me. The little guy full of angst. Like, that screams Nikita Zadorov behavior. Did she do her research before quote tweeting and pulling a clip of us?
She went to see if maybe is there a blueprint on how to beat Pete Blackburn?
Yeah.
Look at, all right, who has defeated Pete Blackburn? Famously Nikita Zadorov. What did he do? Just was very cute with calling him short and being like, what's this guy's problem? So she hammered it.
100%. And it's honestly, like, from the receiving end, possibly the greatest person to get cooked by, because she doesn't really hold any weight. Like, her punches don't really hold any weight. I'm not worried about being wrong about the Matt Rempe thing. And I will say, like, you mentioned people responding whenever Sarah Palin tweets about hockey, shrink the game. I'm not about that life. Like, I like Sarah Palin being involved in the discourse. I like her chiming in about Rempe and the Rangers. She does know puck in a way. Like, she watches the Rangers. And what she was complaining about, like Matt Rempe the other day when he was penalized for like the worst penalty called of the season.
Legitimately,
it was insane.
Skating, which is kind of the hardest thing in Matt Rempe's life, and he did it correctly. You were just skating on the ice, and they penalized him. That's not fair.
I would 100% agree with her on that take. I think that some of her other Matt Rempe bootlicking takes are a little much. That's why that clip came.
Her other takes
but
in general
I'm not kicking her out of the game. I think that she has a place. She's got a place in the discourse. When like Marjorie Taylor Greene tweets about like fucking the fights at Four Nations, then we can shrink the game.
I agree with that. And Sarah Palin does have a standing invite onto this show. Obviously, it would be an apolitical conversation because, quite frankly, I don't know what intelligent political things she could say on such a show. And also, we're not a political show unless we decide that we want to be. So she does have the invitation to come on. If she acts like a big old dummy, we'd say, get out of here, dummy, and we'd hang up on her. And then it would be like, not to compare her to Tony D'Angelo, but like if someone comes on and says something that makes people like them even less, then like way to go, you idiot. How could you do that? Sarah Palin clearly wants to talk puck. She wants to do it with us. She can do it. And we know that she's going to razz us a little bit.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
My question that I don't think we've discussed at any point is, how long did she have that video locked to tweet out? Because that video was tweeted 3 months ago.
Yeah, and what drove her to... those two things are completely unrelated. We weren't talking about the penalty that Matt Rempe got. We were talking about something that happened 3 months ago.
That's what I'm saying. She was just I imagine that on December 19th, she was getting ready for Christmas, and she was I favoriting this video so I could tweet it out at these guys 3 months from now.
I will say, I am a little guy full of angst, so she did clock me. But we do have to draw, or maybe propose some allegations. She is a huge fan of Matt Rempe and not a big fan of me, seemingly for the same reason.
Yeah.
She's a height supremacist.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, clearly. It's the only thing that we know about Matt Rempe is that he's tall, not an amazing skater. You, small,
first
not an amazing
skater.
So at first you could say, okay, she likes people who are not amazing skaters. What's the other thing that you're both Caucasian males, famously?
Yep.
The only difference between you and Matt Rempe is height.
That's true.
And she loves Matt Rempe. She likes the fever and fervor, I believe. Fierce and fervor. She doesn't think that you bring any of that.
Yeah.
She sees you as an angry little bitch.
That's right. Again, she clocked me, but Stan says she's a size queen. So we should bring her on and we should ask her, hey, what do you think about Logan Stankoven? What do you think about Cole Caulfield?
Oh, love it. Just do bit by bit. Find out exactly what we'll get
Where's
a
the
lineup.
line?
Yes, exactly. What is her line? Jack, a.k.a. Young Gritty, says, little guy full of angst.
Mm-hmm.
So do a lot of people now. A lot of people are just going to be calling Pete that for years to come. It was just a very Trumpian type of thing, the little guy in the Blackhawks hat. So full of angst. So we will for sure provide updates as they come with this whole Sarah Palin, what chaos relationship. In looking at things that happened over the weekend, we can quickly check in and ask, are the Edmonton Oilers back? Because they were in a very bad way for quite a bit of time. They lost 5 straight recently. They began this road trip with 2 straight losses. Things looked clunky. Even when Calvin Pickard played well at one point and they gave him a second straight game, he was terrible in that game against the Ducks, and it seemed like there was no way they could ever get momentum. Well, in these last 2 games to wrap up this road trip in New York, they're playing 2 teams that need the points, that are playing them in very close games, that are healthier than the Oilers because the Oilers are without Matthias Ekholm and Zach Hyman. Oilers win both of those games with very good goaltending, and Leon Draisaitl has points in 18 straight games, scored 2 goals in the Islanders game, was just an absolute nut. We need, for our purposes, the Oilers to be good and feeling good and everybody to be feeling happy by the end of next week, because that's when we're going to be in Edmonton, and I am not going there to have a fucking bad time. So,
but I will say, heading into Edmonton with them on a downslide, going into the Battle of Alberta to get right, the stakes could be high.
Yes, we get high stakes. You watched that game last night. Mm-hmm. Rangers, yes, they were on the second game of back-to-back. I didn't think they were going to have the gas that they had, but they're obviously very desperate to make the playoffs. I didn't think the Rangers would have it in them. They did. They played a good game. Oilers got through it. Are they back?
I think you feel really good about that Rangers game. I don't think that you're going to know about whether or not they're back until the next week and a half, because respectfully, I'm not overbuying. I'm not buying what's the opposite of buying the dip? Buying the climb?
Dollar cost averaging?
Sure.
I mean, I dollar cost average, which is once a week I buy into the Oilers a little more, no matter what's happening.
I'm not going to overreact to a game, to wins against the Islanders and Rangers, respectfully. Yeah. There was a good game. There was a lot of positives to take away from that Rangers game specifically. But you got Utah, you got the Jets, and then you got the Kraken in Flames, over the next week and a half. That is the good stuff.
And a lot of it is at home. So
right.
We shall see. I do have to shout out Calvin Pickard. Did you see what he did in overtime against the Islanders?
I did not.
He was just in full Kochekov mode, leaving the net, dicking around, futzing around, playing behind the net. And the best part of it was, for the OT game winner, he stepped up out of the net, intercepted a pass, and sent it up to Connor McDavid, who sprung Leon Draisaitl for the game-winning goal. The game-winning goal in that game was Draisaitl from McDavid and Pickard, and it was not like a fake-ass goalie assist. It was like involved in the play, fucking two hands, like boom.
Did you see the opposite end of that this week?
Linus Olmark, hello, buddy.
Right. I'm gonna say it was like the that electric finish to the Utah Hockey Club game a few weeks ago when I think it was Connor Ingram at the time banked it off the glass to Gunther and he scored the 0-2 winner after Clubbers yelled at us for not watching Utah games. I feel like a legit goalie assist is one of the more underrated, like sick ass things that can happen in a hockey game.
A real it's almost as cool as a goalie goal.
Yes, yeah. I know that's going to sound extreme, but I agree because Calvin Pickard was in the play. He was not in his net. The game was literally on the line. It was overtime. And he was like, fuck this. I can jump on this puck. And he did it.
You almost have more to lose. And it's like a harder thing to do to spring a play the other way as a goalie. Like if you're going for the goal, you can just fucking fling it down. And, if you miss, it's an icing, whatever. I think it's harder. It might be harder to like spring a play as a goaltender.
That overtime also was very confusing. I was famously watching with somebody who is relatively new to hockey, and
you're Gumar.
At what point are they not new to hockey?
At what point it's like no puck.
You're the one that's
your first season.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying you're the one that's applying the title of new to hockey. I'm just wondering at what point they.
I thought we were giving a nickname, but yeah, that is true. But how about this? By the time we were at the game, because she's coming to Edmonton.
Yes.
By the time we were at the game, if she has a single question about hockey during the game, we get to go, when are you going to figure it out? Sorry, guys. Right?
I think so, yeah. I think that's good behavior.
On the McDavid goal yesterday, she was like, Jesus, he's just so much more nimble than I don't know if she used the word nimble, but she had like a real Connor McDavid observation, which was just like, she was just like, he just fucking weaves through guys, doesn't he? That was like, yeah, he does. Other people can't do that like Connor McDavid. But
I wish my Gumar watched hockey the way that yours does.
I know it, dude. It fucking rules. And she likes the Oilers. I told you, maybe off the show, we were in Nashville and we were in the team store. And there was a cute kind of cropped sweatshirt that said Nashville Hockey. And I said, if like me, Pete, and Sean were here, that's probably what I would have gotten you. And she said, I wouldn't have wanted it. And I was like, why? That looks like something you would wear. And she was like, I don't like the Predators. I like the Oilers.
Loyal to the oil, baby.
And I was like, I feel like Sean would respect you a little more. Not that you respect her, fine.
Yeah.
You respect her a lot. But I'm saying like your respect would go even further up if you heard a new hockey fan be like, fuck the Predators. I don't like other Western Conference teams. I like the Oilers. But anyway, that overtime had a lengthy like possession in which the Oilers were set up in the Islanders zone. Like Bouchard, Draisaitl, McDavid, just like set up, passing it around. It was the most non-3-on-3 overtime thing I've ever seen because it normally goes back and forth, back and forth. It was just a wild game. I'm going to declare them back because I just need something good in my life. But the fact that their goaltending has been good makes me feel very good. And yes, there's the stat that everyone keeps bringing up of as long as they get 900 goaltending, they win games, which I assume I'd have to check. I'm like, isn't that every team?
Yeah. I would assume so.
As long as they stop the majority of their goals.
Yeah.
The shots
right? No, like I'm glad the two of you agree.
It's the shoehorning of a narrative with like stats that we don't need stats for that narrative. Like you can say the Oilers just need good goaltending, and we'll all agree. We all agree that the Oilers are a team that gets asshole goaltending a lot of the time, and it sinks them.
Yeah.
But we don't need stats for it.
Yeah. I'll say last night, I thought I saw a little glimmer of Stanley Cup stew. I was like, I haven't seen it in a little bit. Jeff Skinner, amazing in that game as well.
They split up Connor and Leon, right?
Yeah, they have been finally, like, in actually keeping them split up for good. I've had my issues with Chris Knobloch, especially when Hyman was out, he put Kasperi Kapanen in his place. And I was like, if only you had a, like, not active, but like a 40-goal guy toiling on your fourth line, you could move up. But anyway, let's get to the yes.
Before we move on, it would be remiss if we did not mention the run that Gene Principe had.
Yes, good call, Pete. Tell him about it. Sean, do you have any of the stills from it?
Gene Principe had one hell of a road trip. Obviously, we showed you the Buffalo Bills Mafia going through the table thing. But after that, he rattled off a night as a magician. He had a help desk night. And then to cap off the road trip at Madison Square Garden, he had a montage of him running through New York City and then running in to do his hit. Just a legend of all legends.
I'll be honest. The first time I saw the magician, I was like, "Why is he dressed as the Nightmare Before Christmas, or not Nightmare Before Christmas? The Bah Humbug guy.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Ebenezer Scrooge. Yes.
I think of him as the Punxsutawney Phil guy.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah. I feel bad for that guy. Yeah, what's the keeper of Punxsutawney Phil's name?
Phil Pritchard.
Phil Pritchard. He just only does stuff like that.
He just keeps things.
Yeah, yes.
He's the keeper.
He looked amazing. And similar to the Sabres thing where he did the Bills Mafia jump. Nice editing, but not too nice.
In the running one?
They were in the Magic one.
Oh.
There were like puffs of smoke, but it was like downloaded from Adobe stock and then did the whatever setting to make it kind of look like it's real smoke. And the help desk, I was watching that when I was doing my St. Patrick's Day stuff on Friday. They came into him. I saw a help desk. I was like, oh, we're cooking. He's so good. Can't wait to see him in Edmonton next week. Folks, get to Greta next week. I'm sure that you can find the ads or in the posters everywhere online. We've been spamming it because we're so excited to get there. Let's get to the biggest story in hockey right now, though, which is that the LA Kings are 5-0-0 since having the Costco family at a game, and Quinton Byfield is in the middle of it. Since the Costco family showed up, the Kings have just been red hot. Byfield all over it. If you don't know, March 8th, the Costco family visited, and that's AJ, Big Justice. You got the Rizzler in there. You got the rest of the family.
I feel like if we're going to be talking about this, we got to be. Rizzler is not one of the Costco guys.
True.
He's Costco guy adjacent.
Okay, so the Costco family, we believe, if you're not on TikTok, and the best part about this is nobody totally understands this or why it is a big thing, but the man on the left there is named AJ. That is his son, Big Justice, and their thing initially was, it was during the height of the we're blank, of course we blank craze, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, we're Costco guys, of course we eat food at Costco. And everyone was like, what? And they would rate food with the on the scale of booms. So they
or
flex.
dooms.
What's that?
Or dooms.
Booms or dooms. So they would flex and they'd say boom or doom. And I know that as I'm saying this, people are like, DJ, isn't the Costco family past their prime? Isn't that not cool anymore?
15 minutes of fame over.
Welcome to the NHL. They're happening right now in the NHL. So
I mean, they're still happening. That's kind of throwing some unnecessary shade at the NHL. The Costco guys are still very much in the pop culture world.
Like they're probably working on a pilot for some TV network at some point.
That was still very much a get for the Kings.
Yeah, and then like this summer, I think they're going to really get to do baseball. So like they're still going to continue their like string of being relevant, I think.
Well, on March 8th, the family visited, and Quinton Byfield scored the overtime winner against the Blues. And when he scored, he gave a boom. He went like boom, boom, boom celebration with all his pals. And then after the game, there was a video that was going around. Byfield met the family. Sean, do you have that? Okay, let's see it.
My man, bring the food. Thank you so much. Joe, would you mind if we get a quick video? All right, guys, come on in.
Now, that's very wholesome, but the worst part about it is they invited our dear friend Jordan Spence to go fuck himself. Did you see the beginning of that video? It's Byfield and Spence walking together, and they're like, oh, Oh, you!
Well, I
Come
feel
on.
like
I mean, you score the game-winning goal,
Yeah,
you get
that's
that
true.
sort of reception.
He did the celebration. Plus, QB was the one that was like, "Look who it is," and
Yeah.
then walked past Jordan Spence. So
Oh,
I don't
okay.
put too much on the Costco guys.
And like, I should hate this family as like a jealous person. I can't bring myself to hate them. They're the best.
Same.
They're so wholesome. Like they're so polite and nice. Everything that I've seen involving them just seems like they're very appreciative and very aware of how ridiculous it all is, and they love it.
They're living the dream.
Yeah.
Like AJ got to he used to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
And he got to go do like a whole pro wrestling thing with AEW. So he got to like literally live out his dream. And then his son just gets to travel all over the fucking world
rules.
and meet cool people and get free stuff.
How could that not be they basically have a family band.
Yeah.
They're traveling the country doing stuff with their, not just like, oh, you're my favorite person or whatever. Like biologically, your favorite people are having this incredible dream come true with you. That's what's, I mean, there is something a little, not weird, but that this has been AJ's dream his whole life. Probably before he knew Big Justice.
I will say, like, it is the thing that's a little unsettling about it to me is whenever you see them do like anything, like they like AJ clearly has like this is how we make our money mindset kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anytime you see them, they're instantly like throwing up the boom because like they get that that's their money maker.
He's the good version, the non-evil version of Baby Gronk's dad.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
Where
it's
it's
a great way
like
to put it.
he knows what he needs to do to keep the money flowing and keep the brand and the business alive, and he's willing to do it. But on the opposite end of that is Baby Gronk's dad, who is just the fucking worst.
Yeah, they're all enjoying themselves, it seems like.
This family was discussed on Time Crisis a couple of months ago, and Seinfeld 2000, unsurprisingly, was the one that was kind of educating everybody on it. And the way he put it was that AJ seems to be like, what's the term? Auteur? Like auteur, like the kind of like the vision and like the director of all this. So like there is like direction going on, and like there is a boss, and there you have seen these behind the scenes things of when they're shooting something, and Big Justice will say something and he'll be like, oh no, don't forget to say it this way or whatever. So like there is but like what, like they're working.
Right.
This is their job.
They're influencers.
They're working and it's working. So what are you gonna do about it?
Well, since then, the Kings have won all their games, 5-0-0, and Quinton Byfield has scored goals in 6 straight games, including 2 overtime winners. And when he does so, he's hitting the boom. And if you have the call of any of his goals, Sean, you'll hear it as well.
Caps try to clear, they cannot. Held in, Fiala feeds it across, score! Quinton Byfield! That's goals in 5 straight! Boom! 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 Boom!
That's Nick Nixon on the call.
The best part of that is Nick Nixon having to like educate himself on the lore of the Costco guys and then buying into it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone has to buy into it at this point. Right now, if the playoffs ended today, well, the way I'll put it is they're on pace to be the second spot in the Pacific Division. Whatever this is working for them.
I said it before the show. It's Grimace for the Mets, like all over again. Just very random thing showed up, kind of saved the day, and you have no choice but to lean into it.
If it provides a spark, you got to
lean into it.
Here's the Costco guys are saving the King season.
Here's the question. Would the Costco guys come back, or are they like NHL? We're usually at like Alabama football games, or we are like doing NFL stuff or whatever. Would they think?
Yeah,
would they,
no,
they
like
better.
What we know about AJ is that if it's good for the brand and good for the business and puts them front and center, he's there. And like at this rate, they are going to be like the identity of the LA Kings.
Like,
so that's good for business for them.
Game 3 against the Oilers in the first round,
there.
they are so there.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know if they have a siren thing that they do before the game, but they're doing that, throwing up the boom without a doubt.
Oh, we didn't even mention, as brought up by Wubbs in the chat, the Mrs. Fields thing for the Devils. Like there are 2 massive identity things happening in the NHL right now.
Yep.
Mrs. Fields is providing a spark for the Devils, which is insane and crazy, and I love it so much. Devils fans are leaning so hard into that. And on the West Coast, you've got the Costco guys, and it's good for the sport. We're growing the game.
So at Devils games, they show a video of a bunch of snacks racing each other. And Mrs. Fields had not been winning. And Mrs. Fields, I believe, won 2 games in a row. You got people showing up dressed as cookies, which
sports fans are the best, man.
We got someone on this show who I would say more often than anyone I've met is questioning, what can or should I wear to this event? Because I find myself in a specific thing where I'm going to see this team I don't like, but this is going to be there, and I do have this, and I don't have this. Sean, you got motherfuckers dressing up as cookies.
Yeah, rocks.
Would you jump into that?
Yeah, as long as they're not playing the Sabres, I'll support the Devils.
Not only are people dressing up as cookies, you got cookie signs. The New Jersey Devils Twitter account changed their logo to the cookie. Like
Cookie Monster's got. Well, actually, that would be terrible behavior. I was going to say Cookie Monster's got to show up, but he's like the enemy of cookies.
That's true. Yeah.
So whoever they play has to bring out the.
You
Cookie
can't make
Monster.
Mrs. Fields feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. An auteur, by the way, is a filmmaker whose personal influence and artistic control over a movie are so great that the filmmaker is regarded as the author of the movie. So yeah, like
a Tarantino.
Like this is his friggin' thing, his or her. In this case, with the Costco family, I think we can all agree it's
AJ.
the Rizzler. Yeah. That'd be amazing if the Rizzler was just fucking
He was
yapping.
the brains of the operation.
I still have questions about the Rizzler and where his family is and all this because he's not related to them, but Sean has told me that
he's like 10 years younger than them too.
Yeah. And do they go to school? What's happening?
I don't. And his only thing is making a face. He didn't even say anything.
He doesn't need to.
I don't get it.
Okay. We'll do ads in just a little bit because we've had this person waiting for a minute. Thomas Drance from The Athletic joins us now because the Canucks, as they have been at so many points this season for different reasons, are interesting. And right now, what I like about them, Thomas Drance, is that Elias Pettersson is hot. 6 points in the last 4 games. Did we give up on this man too soon?
Well, I hope you didn't watch last night's game against the Utah Hockey Club if we're spinning the Pettersson is back narrative here, because, oh boy, did the Canucks lack any sense of offensive juice. I actually went to the game as a fan, which I don't typically do, but my nephew wanted to go see a game. So I went and sat down in the lower bowl, like closer to the glass than I usually get to see these games. And man, the lack of offensive juice from the Canucks, I was just like, oh, it feels different when I'm paying. It feels different when I'm paying to watch this parade of point shots as, you know, the Canucks get nothing basically thrown at Vejmelka that wasn't a point shot. They scored off one of those point shots, thankfully, but that was all she wrote as the Canucks lost 3-1. Look, Pettersson's shot at least seems to be coming back a bit. He's looking to shoot. It looks like he's got some confidence back as a sniper again, which is important. But, you know, it's not like Pettersson was just a shooter, right? This was a dual threat, elite offensive player. And in terms of the playmaking juice, in terms of the skating speed, I think we're still waiting to see apex or prime Pettersson reemerge here, even though he has been playing better and making a difference for a team that desperately needs him to break some games open here of late.
What's like the general fan thought on Pettersson at this point? Did people want him traded at the deadline? Do they still want him traded this upcoming offseason? Has what he's shown recently been enough to get some people back on board?
So truly, there's this like polarized nature to Canucks fans, and it goes back years and years. I mean, I honestly think it's like dating back to sort of like the Pat Quinn era. You had like a Bure-Linden split. You know what I'm talking about? Then you had sort of this Gillis-Brian Burke split in terms of how fans saw things. And I think the Miller-Pettersson thing obviously became that, not just for the team, but for fans. And so I think there were, you know, like JT Miller loyalists who wanted to see Pettersson dealt, and when he struggled after the season, would continue to say stuff like they traded the wrong guy. And so, you know, I think there was an element or at least a portion of the fan base that would have been totally comfortable moving on. But I also think there's a lot of fans in this market that just sort of want to see Pettersson play better and want to see a star player return to form. I think that's the prevailing sentiment at this point. You know, you sort of want to dance with the one you brought at this, at this juncture, and hope that Pettersson can re-find the game that he had when he was a 100-point guy, or at least just a consistent difference maker. And you know, now we're kind of in this moment where he gets a run of goals, and people are kind of looking for it to be back, right? Looking to post the John Wick meme. And, I don't know that we're there necessarily. Like, I don't think he's there necessarily. This is a guy who I still think is sort of playing at the level of like a fringe first line caliber center, as opposed to, a dominant force. And we've seen him be a dominant force in this league. I don't know that he's getting back there this season, but it's been nice over the course of the past week to see some signs of life anyway.
I mean, this is a group though that extended him on that contract, and like that, I'm assuming there's buyer's remorse. But do you think that if he does end the season strong, and let's say they get into the playoffs and they're competitive in a 6-game loss to the Jets, and
you're the bar that you're dealing with in your head is so good. Like, I just like seeing you slowly like lower, no, too low, a little higher, 6 games. Like,
I'm like,
no, that's
what
the Canucks season in a nutshell. What you just did is the Canucks season. Like, watching your face break as you tried to calibrate where the ceiling for the Canucks should be sent is like honestly what I've been watching on the ice all year. Like, that's exactly, it's just like, when you're there, like that tells you everything. The exercise you just went through tells you everything about this team and their prospects, right? Look, I don't think they have buyer's remorse. I think they know what they bought with Pettersson, and I think they've been wildly disappointed, not just with his performance, but with the preparation this past offseason, and obviously how things broke down internally. But the logic of this team, Operation Keep Quinn Hughes, who becomes extension eligible in 14, 15 months, right? Operation Keep Quinn Hughes hinges on Pettersson being an elite player. Like, they've made their bet. I don't think there's any way to back out of or trade Pettersson for equal value and have a chance to be better next season. I mean, look at this forward group, boys. Look at this forward group. It's grim. It's grim. Like, the only way forward for the Canucks to be competitive enough to make a quality pitch on a long-term extension for Quinn Hughes in 15, 16 months requires Pettersson to get back to the level that he was at. There's no deal that you can make that returns commensurate value. There's no way forward that doesn't involve this guy figuring it out. And luckily, at the very least, for the most part, guys who do what he did for the first 7 seasons of their NHL career, maybe they don't go on to be Hall of Famers, but they tend to at least be Brad Richards or Claude Giroux, right? Like, they tend to at least be first-line caliber players. This team needs him to bounce back. Otherwise, you get into that exercise where you're like, maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher. And it's just like, yeah, that does no one any favors. Like, that's not a recipe to win anything in this league.
So that answers my question, though, because I was wondering, like, are they – obviously they're rooting for him to play well for their own sake, but also are they hoping that he can get to the point where just his stock has risen enough that they can trade him for something that is quarters on the dollar instead of pennies on the dollar? But I think that you answer it there by saying that they need to be as good as they can be next year, so Quinn Hughes feels that he's in a functioning environment.
I think they know that they have to be committed to the big center. I just think they understand, and I think they understood even when they made the decision that Miller and Pettersson couldn't coexist. Like, obviously they listened on Pettersson, and I'd imagine they'd continue to listen on Pettersson if someone came up with a creative solution for them. I don't think they'd sort of blanket, no, we're not going to discuss that. So I won't go as far as to say something like untouchable or what have you. I wouldn't push back entirely on buyer's remorse. I just think the logic of what they did when they knew that one of Miller or Pettersson had to go, and they kind of knew all along that it would be Miller. Now, granted, there were, I think, some complications in terms of it being recognized on all sides that it was time for JT Miller in particular to get a fresh start for a variety of reasons. So that was part of it. But I think the overwhelming logic was, if we trade either one of these guys, we're going to be worse for a period of time. It's going to take us 18 months to get back to the point we're at now from a talent level perspective. And if we do that with the 31-year-old player, right, by the time we're able to restock to the point that we've got back to the level we're at now, he's 33. Whereas with Pettersson, at least we have a shot of sort of still having a prime age center. So I think the logic of the bet that they've made kind of locks them in to working with Pettersson and finding a way to maximize him. And that happens to be the right move. Like that happens to be what they have to do, organizationally speaking. It's just complicated. And obviously is sort of further complicated by just how long it's been since we saw Pettersson play with the sort of juice that we'd grown accustomed to over the course of his NHL career.
I mean, I'll speak for all of us. I think we're all pretty shocked that the Canucks are in a playoff position, given all the dysfunction that's happened with that team this year. Like, do you think there's any world in which they make noise and disrupt in the playoffs if they get there?
I think the problem is that they're locked into playing the Winnipeg Jets. You know, I think that's the issue, right? More or less. I mean, I think this team has sort of forged this kind of negative identity, which we've seen work for teams. Now, it worked better 10 years ago when goalies were saving 915% of shots, right? Like the 915 save percentage, than it does in a league where goalies are only stopping 900 save percentage in terms of what they're facing, right? Because that sort of decreases variance and increases the impact of elite talent. And so, you know, that's why Connor McDavid last year can have that NBA style run in throughout the playoffs. So, you know, I don't know that it's not fertile ground. And the way that the Canucks are playing is this counter-punching team that relies on capitalizing on your mistakes and frustrating you and playing low event hockey and winning a 2-1 game. You know, it like that. They're a 2-1 team in a 4-3 league. It is basically how I'd sort of frame it. And maybe that could work if you bumped into LA in the first round. Maybe that could work if you bumped into Minnesota in the first round or Dallas. Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. But a team like Winnipeg is going to be able to pick that apart. You know, a team like the Colorado Avalanche is going to be able to pick that apart. A team like the Edmonton Oilers is going to be able to pick that apart. And there's really no path for the Canucks to find or bump into in the first round, one of, if they even do make it, one of those sorts of first round opponents that I think they could punch above their weight against. I think it's going to be against Winnipeg, and I think Winnipeg has the answers. Like, I think Winnipeg has already stolen the answers from the principal's office. Canucks lost 6-1 to them when they faced them earlier this season. They're playing them on Tuesday, and I'll be pretty surprised if it's not, not 6-1 bad, but I think Winnipeg, I don't think you can sit back against this Jets team. I think they've got too much speed. I think they've got too many different ways to hurt you. So, yeah, I mean, look, what are their odds? I mean, last I checked on the sports books, they had lower odds to win outright than the Calgary Flames. Like, bettors are telling you this. Bettors are telling you they'd rather bet on Dustin Wolf being 1986 Patrick Roy than on the Vancouver Canucks punching above their weight in the playoffs, right? Like, that's what the market is telling you. That's not me. That's what the market is telling you. Like, the Canucks have lower win outright odds than any other playoff team in the NHL, and lower than many of the teams outside the playoff picture as it stands today in the Eastern Conference. Like, it's like 18th or 19th best Stanley Cup to win outright odds. So, you know, what does that tell you? Right? Like, that tells you that a lot of people, a lot of independent evaluators, people who want to put sort of their own skin in the game here, are looking at this team as having a pretty low ceiling. And I don't think they're wrong.
I was going to mention that 6-1 game in January, which is your classic. It was 6-1, but it wasn't that close. And that doesn't feel good when you say it wasn't as close as 6-1 looked, because they came out and scored 6 goals. Then I think the Canucks got just like a garbage goal in the third period at the end when it was already 6-0. So not close, but as you mentioned, we do have 2 more games coming up between the two, so we get a little playoff preview. I agree. We're going to do some exercises later in the week on teams and how far they can go. I think that the Canucks against the Jets, and I know the way that we talk about the Jets is wake me up when they do it in the playoffs. They're going to do it in the first round of the playoffs, I feel.
My problem with the Canucks is that, like, they are such a different team on any given night. So to bank on them to win a 7-game series is like, they're one of those teams that can win any game against any opponent on any night, but they're not going to do it over the course of a 7-game series. That's the problem.
Yeah, they can also lose to any given team on any given night, right? Or be completely lost. I mean, look, the thing is I think when you look at their games against like Edmonton, Vegas, and Winnipeg, right? Because then that's sort of how I've been sorting it, because I figure Now, Winnipeg's sort of built enough of a cushion that it really does look like it's Winnipeg. But, one of those teams wins the Pacific or you face the Jets in the Central. Like, those are the three most likely playoff opponents. And the Canucks have gone, I think, 6-1. I think it's 6-1, and I think the goal differential's 27-10 across their 7 games against those teams, right? Like, as much as they can beat any given team on any given night, they also have not fared well against the most dangerous teams in the West this season. The Colorado Avalanche are kind of the exception to that rule, and yet, I mean, we all watched the Avalanche pick the Stars apart yesterday, right? Like, I think we all have a good sense that the Colorado Avalanche today are not the Colorado Avalanche we were watching in October and November. Credit McFarland, right? That's an incredible midseason reboot. So
just a completely different team.
Yeah, I mean, a completely different team, and it shows. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that this team does measure up to the elite teams in the West, and I think they have a floor given the negative way they play, given their defensive reliability. Their penalty kills become elite. Like they're not lost up a creek without a paddle. Like, they have some method of steering. They have some ability to overcome all the negative stuff that's surrounded them, whether it's been injuries or, the core group sort of fizzling out for personality reasons or Demko injury. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that they've had to deal with. And they've had margin for error because they do play defense well. I do think they've sort of forged something of an identity, but it's a negative approach to winning games, right? And it's a difficult product to watch too, at the moment. And that's sort of where you run into problems, especially in a market as excitable as this one, where, like, are they fun to watch play? Like, no. Well, are they good? Like, not really. Is there hope for the future at least? Like, maybe? No, probably
Sounds
not.
Very
right?
familiar to a team that I watch.
But once you lay it all out, right, that's where it becomes a difficult value proposition in a market where, you've got 2 million people and 1.8 million of those people think they're GMs.
Thomas Drance, this has been one of the more fun, hey, how's that team doing conversations we've had, because you've basically been like playoff-y, but it's going to suck. So thank you for painting that lovely picture for us.
Yeah, I mean, still some work to go. I've got a lot of Utah Hockey Club's stock locally, so I'm gonna hold that. I think it's gonna be interesting here, especially with the Blues getting hot. So yeah, I'm not exactly booking my flights to Winnipeg just yet, boys.
Ooh, well, it bears watching. Thomas Drance, you bear reading in The Athletic, and we will do so. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you kindly. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's the great Thomas Drance. You always go to him for all things Canucks. And for all things face, it's Shady Rays.
Nice.
I'm just putting those on my face. Shady Rays is really a quality shade. It's built to last. It's a good product. They got you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. And as the seasons change and the weather gets better, more opportunity to go out, take a walk, go for a blade, whatever.
It's a big weekend for sunglasses in Boston, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was a little gray yesterday, but still.
Yeah, but it was still warm yesterday.
And it was sunglasses at all times.
And it was the St. Patrick's Day parade. If you want to hide how low your eyes are drooping, wear some sunglasses.
And I believe the sun can still get you through clouds, right?
It's more dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Like the clouds.
Yeah, because people think it's not there, so they don't protect themselves from it.
Those people don't know ball. You can prove that you know ball by putting Shady Rays on your face, maybe even in your team's favorite colors as you get ready for the playoffs. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
If you're working to protect the eyes on your face, why not work to prevent or protect the cells in your body? That's where Timeline comes in. Timeline sells health and longevity supplements that feature their proprietary MitoPure ingredient. MitoPure works with the cells in your body to help reverse age-related decline. Those benefits include increased strength, increase energy, and increase endurance. They got 15 plus years of research back in this stuff and 30 plus patents for their products. So it's incredible. The cells of your body are very important. They're the building blocks of life, some would say. And MitoPure, it's a supplement that helps boost those cells in your body and helps boost the building blocks of your life. We use it. We love it. We're recharged thanks to Timeline and MitoPure. So if you want to do the same thing right now, Timeline is going to give you 10% off your first order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/chaos to get started. That's timeline.com/chaos for 10% off your order of MitoPure.
We have spoken about how the Edmonton Oilers are back, how the LA Kings are hot, having won 5 games in a row. Elsewhere in the Pacific, you have the Vegas Golden Knights dropping 2 straight. They lost to the Red Wings on Sunday. Detroit very badly needed those points, so good on them. And on Saturday, man, they've been on the road for a while, 4 straight. They've lost 3 of 4 on the road, and they've lost 4 of 5 overall. So the Golden Knights hitting a bit of a skid. I want to talk about what went down on Saturday, though, because amazing stuff. Sabres hosting the Golden Knights. Jack Eichel scored. Sean's already making a face.
Just, I don't like Jack Eichel.
Okay, let me give it to you.
Jack Eichel doesn't like you either, pal.
Yeah,
probably
I hate
not.
to break it to you.
Let me give it to you. Eichel breaks a tie, a 2-2 tie with 2:33 left. Tomas Hertl tries to pass it to Eichel for the empty netter in the final minute of the game, turns it over. Rasmus Dahlin then ties the game with 14 seconds left. Eichel is stopped in the shootout, and the Buffalo Sabres win because the Golden Knights tried to get too cute with spiking the Jack Eichel football in Buffalo.
They looked at the slate and they said, revenge game, that's all we care about.
Give that 5 big booms.
Stupid behavior,
Stupid.
especially when you're not in a good way. You don't need points, but I think right now, when the Oilers have games in hand, Oilers are 4 points behind the Golden Knights. And wouldn't you rather, let's see, I don't know, you get Minnesota in the first round if you win that. So maybe they don't care. They're like, whatever, we'll play the Kings or something.
Yeah.
But there could be a scenario. What if the Kings catch up to them and the Golden Knights end up getting the Oilers in the first round? Don't play. If you are the first spot in the Pacific,
I think you're looking
that shit.
I think you're looking too big picture here. I think, and not to read too much into it, but it probably says more about what they think of the Buffalo Sabres. They considered that rumpus time in a 1-goal game where they were like, we can fuck around. Let's get Jack his little candy third cherry on top goal here. This team ain't coming back. And credit to the Buffalo Sabres for fighting back, not only tying the game, but then winning and capping it off in overtime. Shout out to Buffalo. They deserve that one. And I do love the behavior of the Jack Eichel stuff, where he got booed every time he touched the puck. And it's easy to say, well, why do you hate Jack Eichel? Because your team was the one standing in the way of the surgery that he wanted. And yeah, that's all true. But as was brought up on social media after the fact, the things that Jack Eichel said about Buffalo after that whole thing went down, Sabres fans should fucking hate Jack Eichel, given the way that he's talked about that team. And I know he's not the only player that's left Buffalo and thrown some shots at it.
But you were the captain.
Yeah. And there is such a thing as a high road.
I will say this.
And not taking shots at the fans.
I say this all the time with the Eichel surgery thing. I get that it worked out well. Nobody in the sport had the surgery before. There is reason for the Sabres to have been hesitant for the future of their franchise to do something that nobody in the league has ever done before. So I don't think it's as simple as being they didn't let him have his surgery. There was a legitimate reason behind not wanting him to have the surgery. I was coming back on Jack Eichel, and this brought up all the bad feelings again.
I want to clarify.
I want the hate to still be there.
Yeah, it's there.
I think that hate belongs in sports. I love tuning into anytime Jack Eichel is back in Buffalo. I want it to be ugly. I want it to be nasty. So this delivered. I want that hate factor to stay there. So this was a nice little reminder that it's still there.
I want to clarify on the Hertl Eichel thing. That the go-ahead goal was just Eichel's first goal of the game, so it wasn't like he was trying to give him a hat trick or anything.
I assumed that it was a hat trick.
So that's the thing. I was like, shit, I should have clarified. I should have said that right then it was not for a hat trick. It was just they seemed really upset when you scored that goal a couple of minutes ago. Here you go. Let's get you another one. No, I agree with everything that both of you said, that they were treating it as rumpus time, that you should still be mad. I wish that I clipped the call because I was listening to this game on the radio in the car, which shows what my life is.
How?
NHL app. I don't know how fast you do it.
I do the TuneIn app.
Oh, the NHL app gives you all the radio broadcasts for free.
Oh, that's probably way easier.
Yeah,
all right, interesting. I did not know that.
The play-by-play person who Sean would be
Dunleavy.
Okay, yeah, I think it was Dunleavy, said as Eichel was going up for his shootout goal, he says, I'll let the key bake setter call this one. And it's just boos until there's a loud cheer. And he says, you know that it was Jack Eichel and you know that he made the save. And it was awesome. And the Sabres went on to win that game. So Sabres hot, Sabres back.
I will say this. Another thing I like about this whole conflict is that, like, I was giving the context from the Sabres perspective about the surgery. Like, if you're Jack Eichel, like, I think you are not wrong for supporting whatever side you support in this. Like, Jack Eichel wanted the surgery that other athletes had and ended up working well. So if I like from the Vegas Golden Knights perspective, I like being pro Jack Eichel and hating the Sabres and doing stuff to try and dunk on the Sabres, especially given the current state of the Sabres. Like, I completely understand all of that. It's still fuck you guys, because that's my job in all of this, but I appreciate it.
My only pushback to that would be, like, if you're Jack Eichel and you're Vegas, you should have the attitude of, like, I don't think about you at all.
I agree.
I've won a Stanley Cup. Things are going so well for me. I'm a much better player than I ever was in Buffalo. Like, I don't think about you at all.
I agree from in the context of, like, some of the comments he's made, but, like, in the game, trying to dunk on him when Sabres fans are been trying to boo you out of the building the entire game, like, yeah, go ahead and try and give him that goal. Like, I like that behavior. Ended up being asshole behavior in hindsight, but, like, all the context, I like both sides' behavior.
Wubs in the chat says, speaking of booing players, are the Canes able to boo Rantanen, or is it bad behavior given that he didn't play for them long enough? That leads us into our next topic, but I'll answer this question. You can absolutely boo Rantanen if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, and the reason why is because he didn't play for you long enough. He did not want to be there.
Even if he didn't say it explicitly like Eichel did, he did kind of give you a go fuck yourself, so I don't like you guys.
If a player like specifically a star player forces their way out of town, that is a green light to boo them every single time.
And even if it's understandable, if they're like, I just don't like it here, my family wants to be or whatever. And Rantanen's on this weird kind of like post Amelia Perez like correct the narrative tour where he's like, no, it wasn't a family decision. My family would follow me based on whatever decision I made. I did not want to be here. I'm like, don't say that. Like, just say it didn't work out. But he's like, I wanted to make it clear. I didn't say to them I wouldn't sign. I didn't say whatever. Like, I got here and I simply didn't like this place. I think it's bad. Okay? So I hope we can all shake hands and go our separate ways. And I was like, I don't think that saved you the way that you thought it would. But yeah, absolutely boo. And it brings us to a behavior grade that I would like you to set up, Peter.
Behavior grade. Mikko Rantanen returns to Colorado. The Stars play the Avalanche on Sunday. And great game. The Stars, nice little comeback to force overtime. Then you get the Cale Makar game winner in overtime, which leads to this goal horn behavior from the Colorado Avalanche.
Cale Makar cuts to the middle, shoots, scores!
Unbelievable.
Gave that 5 booms.
He did.
The Avalanche goal horn did like a tiny bit of research. The Avalanche goal horn really changes based off of the gravity of the moment, which
it's a feel thing.
Unbelievable. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that like the goal horn was a button that somebody could press and just have it be a reflection of how horny they are in the moment.
That rocks so hard. Like, how long can it go before people there are like, is the horn broken? Like, I want to see someone just lay on it being like, I'll stop when they make me.
It's incredible.
Do you know why the person pressed it that many times?
So you're giving them 5 booms.
Because they like to party. they like to party. You know that song, the Venga Boys?
Yes.
That whole song is built around someone just like leaning on a car horn, doing it too many times. I love this guy playing it by ear, being like, it's a feel thing, big goal, fuck Mikko Rantanen. Because I mean, yeah, Rantanen's in Colorado there too, so they get to jump in on it too.
100%. I absolutely love this. I love all of the energy behind it. It is the biggest "I'm going to come" goal horn that I've ever heard in my life.
Do not come.
So shout out to the Colorado Avalanche.
I need memes to do something with that.
A little trouble there, but
I would like to, not something I'm going to do because it'd be way too much work and not worth it. Like, I would like to go through all of the horns and what is the most misplaced horn? Like, if they did that after like the 5th goal of a 5-1 win against the Sabres, like that would be insane.
Yeah.
I just like to see what moments match with what horns.
mean, we're definitely going to clip that and apply it to inconsequential goals, right?
The horn
to do just a real like the Nils Holander scoring the first Canucks goal of that January game against the Jets, where the Jets were beating them 6-0. 3rd period, garbage random ass goal. That Matt Grzelcyk, 3rd period, 2019 Game 7 against the Blues. Game is over. Everyone's fucking sad. At least the Bruins get 1 goal. Lean into that shit.
I wonder at what point too the players would just be like, "Fuck you, guy! Like, why are you doing this to me? I like don't make this
Stars players."
No, like if your goal horn did that to you after like you put up it's been 5-0 all game and you put up a garbage time goal to make it 5-1, and then they're just like hammering the horn. You're like, even I know it's not that big.
I'll tell you when they should have been doing that shit is after Rasmus Dahlin's game-tying goal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blare that shit in Tomas Hertl's face. Fucking
They should have done it after that.
Like that should have been a delay of game penalty based off of how hard they were hammering
Just
that button.
don't stop doing the horn. If a player does like an asshole thing that yields Schadenfreude or karma or whatever, lean into that.
Yes, I would like that very much.
Great horn behavior.
Now my attention is going to be locked in on the Colorado Avalanche goal horn for the rest of the season, maybe the rest of forever, based off of how many horns you're getting, based off the gravity of the moment.
My attention is just going to be on horns in general. Well, on horns during games in general. Like, I feel like other teams might be fucking around with the horn and we don't even realize it.
We should do a behind the scenes thing. We should talk to as many horn operators, horn players.
Yes.
Go to Montreal, maybe find a French horn player.
Yes.
And learn about their style.
Quebecois horn player. But
Yeah. Just a French Canadian horn player. Just be like, are you classically trained? What's your kind of feel? Do you that motherfucker in Colorado is improvising?
Yeah.
What we're gonna do is find
power.
out that they're like, oh, like the Avalanche like lets kids do it. And we're just be like, oh.
Yeah, it just
like,
happened to be
it's
Kids
like-
Day.
That is big kid behavior, but it rocks.
There's
It's
so much
Kid
power in
Horn
that. I love
Day
it.
at the at Ball Arena.
Every day.
Yeah. The kids operate the horn.
Yeah, I just don't like it said like that, but
I don't know what I said, but chat says DJ cooked.
I do want to talk about Connor Bedard, because Connor Bedard had quite the weekend.
Yeah, he's been mouthing off, and he got a misconduct. He's
2 straight.
Yeah, 2 straight games. Him mouthing off. What's that?
Go ahead. I'll get your read first.
My read on it is he's got to be doing something. I love Connor Bedard, but he's clearly doing something. And maybe I know there's been a lot of like, oh my God, what could he have said? I don't know what he said. He probably said something.
So I looked into this. I think I'm going to say free my guy. Free my guy here, because
I'm on your side.
On Thursday night, he didn't say anything. I think that he was kicked out of the game for accidentally spitting on an official. They show the clip of him on the bench. The ref comes over and says something to him, and Bedard like rolls his eyes, and he spits a bunch. He spits a bunch. He's not looking, and then you see like the ref skate by as he's spitting one time, and then right after that, he gets tossed from the game, not for saying anything. So I think if there was like an exchanging of words where he didn't say anything problematic, and then he accidentally hits on a drive-by spitting, that's like he didn't mean it.
Gotta eject the guy probably.
Yes, I was gonna say.
But yeah, that's like I agree. afterwards, it is a free Bedard.
Sure, but it got twisted into a bigger narrative because of the follow-up one, which happened on Saturday, and he was attacked after a whistle at the end of a game, and that happens all the time, where there's just like a scrum, and the officials are trying to keep a hold of the game, so they just send guys to the locker room to just say, all right,
get out of here.
He didn't do anything. So the fact that it happened 2 times in a row, people spun into this narrative that like Connor Bedard has some shit on his ass. Connor Bedard's like a whiny baby. He's got to learn a lesson. No, he fucking doesn't. It was just an accident that he got thrown out of a game 2 times in a row.
And also, like, this coming from a Sabres fan perspective, like, I would much rather have my young player who's losing a shit ton, like, clearly give a shit about losing a shit ton, as opposed to just throwing his hands up and like accepting the loss, even if it's not the best, not in this specific situation, but in general, even if it's not the best behavior. Like, I'd rather him show that he has an edge before the Blackhawks turn into what the Buffalo Sabres are and have no personality, no culture, no edge, and they get bullied all the time.
Yeah, I think this conversation lightly overlooks, and I know that you don't do this in general, but like the fire of Connor Bedard, like the fact that he is at this point in his career pissy. Which we all support, though. So if he gets in trouble for being pissy from time to time, I'm going to, like, when he gets some misconduct, I'm assuming he was being pissy.
But that's the thing. Like, that's the assumption when it's not the case. He wasn't being pissy in either of these cases.
So does Connor Bedard already have a reputation? Is he getting reputation calls against him in his second year?
I think that might be the case. And I do think, like, he does have some pissiness, some bitchiness to him. Like, but that being spun into the narrative of why he got kicked out of either one of these games is just not true.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just got like an all-time rant from the head coach of the Detroit Pistons about how his young players just don't get any respect from refs and stuff like that. And I think it's kind of I think it happens in all sports. When you have a young star who will express his opinion, like refs, they're humans too. Like, you got to earn the respect from them, and they will take it out on the players a little bit. Fair or not.
Before we get to the Slate Grade, we must acknowledge that we have our first team eliminated from playoff contention. The San Jose Sharks this weekend were eliminated from playoff contention. They are the first team, when you go to the standings, that have that little square with an E next to them. And I know that none of those were there yet on the standings, but I really did assume, I'm not making a joke, like I really just did assume that them and the Blackhawks had been out of it for like a week or two.
I thought the Sabres had been officially eliminated at this point too.
I mean, they've
been sucked off, not eliminated.
Yeah, the Canucks are in the playoffs. No, I was pretty sure they were like a game or two away from being eliminated.
RIP to the Sharks. They're still the vibe champs, though.
You did it in incredible fashion. And somebody, I believe, pointed out to Sean that Cody Ceci.
Oh, yeah, maybe on pace to play 35 games this year or 85 games this year. I didn't fact check myself, but someone did say that he's on pace to play 85, which is was it Toffoli that did that last year or 2 years ago?
I mean, Toffoli, it would make sense for Toffoli. Oh, maybe Monahan?
Monahan did it a few years ago, right?
Yeah. There's been a bunch of guys. I want to say like one of the Johnsons was also in that category, whether it was Eric or Jack or one of them. Yeah, it's always fun when you have like the guy who plays like 74 or 84 games or whatever it is.
Okay, let's get to a Slate Grade. This is an interesting one. Sean, the Sabres visit the Boston Bruins at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's very nice of you to put implications on there. I think that just because we had that clip out there in which we declared the Bruins back, and that got a bit of attention, I think that we have to pretend we still think that the Bruins are back. Despite being back, they're on a bit of a losing streak, but that happens when you're back.
To be fair, I did make this graphic last Friday.
Okay.
Or last Thursday.
Well, there's also lottery implications.
Also very true. That's I was gonna spin it.
There can be whatever implications we want. 7 p.m. Eastern in a Connor Clifton Bowl. And Sean, I've got to ask, are you going?
I am very seriously considering it. I sent out, I don't know if any of you guys would want to go. I sent out a text to a couple of friends to see if they might be interested. I'll be locked in at the very least, but I am considering going.
The get-in price with all-in pricing on Game Time is $52.
Oh, it's gone down since the start since this morning.
Yeah,
I like it.
It bears monitoring.
It definitely does.
Okay, so that bears monitoring. Flyers at Lightning, 7 p.m. Eastern. I feel like we had this game recently. I'm not going to watch it. What's that?
Wayne Simmons Bowl?
Wayne Simmons Bowl, Simone Gagne Bowl. Devils at Blue Jackets, 7 p.m. Eastern. Huge game, huge implications. Devils beat the Blue Jackets last week. This one in Columbus is a David Clarkson Bowl. I think I used that one last week, but I always like to do that for these two teams. This is
an Akira Schmid playing the puck past the red line bowl.
Yes.
I had to double check. Wayne Simmons did not play for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
He didn't?
No.
Wayne Simmons played for the
Toronto
Flyers.
Maple
Leafs. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
he played for the Sabres.
Same colors.
Played for the Sabres. Maybe I'm thinking the Leafs jersey. Yeah.
Okay. How about the Flames at Maple Leafs at 7:30 p.m. Eastern in a Mark Giordano Bowl? Huh?
I was gonna say revenge game, but no, he had that stint in Seattle, so
yes.
It is a bowl.
Yes, it would be a bowl, and Maple Leafs, bit of a snag since I declared them a real solid, strong contender.
Also, it wouldn't be a revenge game because Giordano's not in this game.
Our declarations are hurting us, by the way. Are you going to buy the dip on? We said last week, how is Nathan McKinnon plus 450? He's like, we all last week thought that he was probably the favorite at that point. He's now plus, I think, 700, plus 650 or something. So buying the dip to win hard?
Could buy the dip.
No, I may not buy the dip. Leon going crazy right now. Kings at Wild, tucking us in at 8 p.m. Marion Gaborik Bowl. That has implications. I like an 8 p.m. Monday tuck.
I would
prefer quite early.
I would prefer it on like a Thursday when you got Severance.
Oh yeah.
So it's a good day. No, it's not a good day. I was going to say it's a good day to go to a game, but then you miss all the games, and a lot of them have implications.
Yeah, no. If you're going to a game tonight, you're watching one hockey game. Yeah,
I would be fine with that in the specific situation.
This
personally,
structure
but, yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, I don't like the structure.
Tucked in and sucked off.
Devils at Blue Jackets.
Tucked in and sucked off. Other way around.
I would say the best games here. Oh, I mean, really, the last 3 games are really good. Devils at Blue Jackets, awesome. Flames at Maple Leafs, big implications there. Kings at Wild, gotta see if we see a 7th boom from Quinton Byfield.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, the games aren't bad. It's just the structure sucks ass.
Yeah, this is an A-, but this is a good. I'll say this is not a bad A-.
Wow,
I'm very excited for Devils Blue Jackets. The implications there are strong.
I'm also going to watch the shit out of it. My full attention is going to be on Devils Blue Jackets, but I wish that Sabres Bruins could start at like 6:45.
Well, Stacey Fay has brought up something I've never really considered when grading structures, because we obviously do it from an East Coast U.S. perspective. The last game of the night starts at 5 p.m.
That's crazy.
Pacific. So like you get out of work and you get home, there's some traffic, you've missed the half of like all the games, at least.
Yeah, they just don't.
Nobody in California works.
Like the Kings game?
Not a bad suggestion from Apollonius in the chat. Says, how many booms does this get? For as long as Quinton Byfield is doing his thing. And I don't want to bastardize and turn the Slate Grade into a mockery. But
I think it might be past that point.
It's knock it off, Sean. In this, as there's pictures of Dennis Reynolds,
and you guys were trying to throw like 5 different other things on the slate last week.
I'm not so sure about that. We will, for as long as Quinton Byfield scores consecutive goals, we will give booms. Yeah, I give this I feel like 3 out of 5 is too low. I'll give this a 4 booms.
I would say it's 3 out of 5 booms, maybe 4 for me if I end up at Bruins. I guess then it's just 1 boom because I'm just at 1 game.
No, it's a 3 out of 5 for me, just because the structure is so bad that I got to take away 2 booms.
What?
Henry Jokiharju revenge game.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, it's
true.
definitely 4 booms.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Definitely 4 booms.
Shit, dude. Should I go to the Sabres Bruins with Sean and get a Henry Jokiharju Bruins jersey?
We're ruling out the possibility of Casey Middlestat going Middlestat mode, and then after the game being asked about how much better
there's so much juice in this
Boston
game
than Buffalo.
Yeah, that game, right? Yeah, Middlestat against shit.
I was gonna say I have previously said that the only way you're ever getting me in a Bruins jersey is a Willie O'Ree jersey.
Middlestat jersey?
No, fuck that guy. Henry Jokiharju Bruins jersey. I would totally wear for the memes. That's the funniest jersey I've ever seen.
We did see Casey Middlestat's 3-game point streak come to an end on Saturday against the Lightning, a game in which they were walloped.
It's always a good day to start a new streak.
God, I gotta go to this game.
Do you
think Yoki Hartrees?
Yeah, you can see I'm gonna do. I don't know why it went to like not quite viral, but got a lot of attention. I tweeted on Friday that the get-in price for the Islanders Oilers game was $19. I tweeted like get-in price tonight, $19. People can go see Connor McDavid for $19. They should probably do that. And it just got shared a bunch. Do I do that tonight with like people can go see Casey Middlestat for $52?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna do that exact for like. I'll just take the like template.
Just quote tweet that last tweet with the same structure.
Man, yeah. Okay, so 4 to 5 booms. I'll say exciting stuff on Severance. Did you see the amazing update that happened Severance wise?
Like the latest episode?
No.
That would be a very funny way to ask if you saw.
You see, they updated Severance. They
updated the show page on Apple Plus.
Oilers were in a bad way, and then they updated their record yesterday. Way better. Their points percentage updated too.
If you see Frank Saravalli's tweet, he updated their record with goaltending 900 save percentage or above. Somehow they lost a loss.
I did see that. He updated his stat and chunked it a little bit. But after last week's episode, the penultimate of the season, you could go on Apple TV and it says what the episodes are. And the finale, of course, is called Cold Harbor, 44 minutes or whatever. People were like, damn, 44 minutes for that finale? Same length as the penultimate episode. People were hoping maybe it was a mistake. Yesterday, you go on Apple TV, Cold Harbor, directed by Ben Stiller, written by Dan Erickson, which is exactly what you want. 1 hour, 15 minutes.
Oh, wow. So they did update it.
We're eating good on Thursday.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Behavior grade, I'm going to throw you under the bus here. Before the show, we're all going to Hockey East semifinals on Thursday.
Yeah. Crazy.
DJ said that he is contemplating leaving the second game, which is the better game. It is BU versus Northeastern. Thinking about leaving that game to go watch Severance.
I'm not heavily thinking about it. I believe the way it was said was I would leave that game to watch Severance. Not I'm going to leave that game to watch Severance. But if that is like,
I feel like it's back.
If that is no. Why would I feel bad? I am not much of a backpedaler. I think that people are right sometimes, people are wrong sometimes. If whatever thought on this is wrong, then whatever. But if it's like, I'll expand on it. If it's like a 6-0 game,
oh, that's fair.
Then maybe. But if we're hanging out and we're having fun,
we're gonna have fun.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the best. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Shout out to the BC Eagles men's hockey team for sucking because they won't be
not
there.
Shout out.
Thanks
for ruining our time.
So disappointing that the BC Eagles, the #1 team in the country, lost to Northeastern and in the quarters over the weekend. I tweeted this. Got to start asking some tough questions about the BC Eagles clutch gene or big game gene.
Yeah, what clutch gene? They don't
lost 2 years in a row. Like, well, I'll keep it to the past 2 years because that's when they have had this group. You lost the Bean Pot, you lost the final, you lost the Hockey East final last year. This year you lost the Bean Pot, you lost the Hockey East quarters. They gotta win a natty. Like they have so much pressure on them to win a natty this year, or else like this era of the BC Eagles is going to be deemed a pretty big failure.
And they're sending a bunch of losers to the NHL.
Well,
don't infect my league. I want winners.
Say,
hey, I'm still a Ryan Leonard guy.
No, that's what I was going to say.
Not slapping the loser tag on Ryan Leonard. He
silver
got a couple
lining is
juniors.
if they decided to be big losers right now, silver linings would get Ryan Leonard to the league quicker.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
And we can ask, like, Ryan Leonard, thank God he won 2 World Juniors. Because otherwise you might have some allegations.
Big allegations.
Is Boston College the Buffalo Sabres? People get their great players, get their losing out of the way there, and then they go to other teams.
They're so going to draft Hagens in the first round and really just solidify that.
Oh, I mean, I'm into. Hey, I need Misa on the Sabres.
Yeah, that would rock pretty hard.
I need Misa on the Sabres or the Panthers, and I feel like the Panthers is not happening.
Probably
although the Panthers pretty much get what they want these days. So
it'll happen in like 10 years after he's played 6-7 with the Sabres, and then they have to trade him because they can't win, even though he's the best player on the team.
Did you see the clip of Don Sweeney? The Bruins put out a clip from their great behind the scenes show, Behind the Bee, and I say that that was not sarcastic. There's usually a lot of cool clips on that show of just interesting behind the scenes stuff, and they're like, here's the clip of the Bruins trading Brad Marchand, and it's Don Sweeney walks into a room and he's like, guys, Florida traded for Marsh. It's a second-round pick that can become a first-round pick. That's the end of the clip. You're like, dead dove do not eat. I guess I don't know what I was expecting.
I did have 2 takeaways from that. Deflected blame immediately. He said Florida traded for Marsh.
I had nothing to do with it.
I
just learned about it.
I didn't do anything. I didn't do shit.
I
didn't trade shit.
I used to love to say that I was overserved. Not I
didn't
got
order
drunk.
too much.
Not somebody did something to me. There was a mistake made. That's what he was doing. Florida came in and traded for Marsh. Now we don't have that guy anymore. Thanks a lot, Florida.
And
Chad is pointing out that there was an
geez.
Yeah, there was a geez.
Jeez. And then my other takeaway was as he was like going on with describing the trade, you could feel like the growing shame in him, like verbalizing it.
Yeah. It's like,
he was like his first second-round pick.
And it graduates.
If he plays 50% of the games, can become.
If we get him on the show,
first.
we can ask him if he like practices his shame voice, because he just has to say a bunch
had a
of.
lot of practice.
He knew I presumably had to have known he was mic'd up in the situation. So he's walking into the room knowing there's about to be a clip of him ruining not trying to be too dramatic, ruining the franchise, but like ruining the lives of so many Bruins fans.
Someone else did it. Florida traded for him.
Yeah, true.
Metal Stoof says, I looked away for a second. Florida swooped in.
It's like it's a small dog with a hawk ahead. Overhead.
Apollonius asks, well, why did they share it? Good question.
That is a very good question.
I mean, this is the team that famously shared the clip of them basically trying to do spin zone on why they traded Tyler Seguin. Did you ever see that?
I don't think I did.
It was from that show. They're sitting around a table, and Cam Neely is like, what are we going to do about Seguin, guys? And somebody else is, I think it was Cam who says, if Seguin was half of Kane, I believe is what they said. If Seguin could have been half of Kane in the playoffs last year, then we'd win the cup, which honestly, they punched so far above their weight class in that 2013 Cup final that they went 6 games against that Blackhawks team, even with Hossa in and out, was a fucking miracle. But they're kind of doing their spin zone on like, hey, so we all agree we lost the Stanley Cup because Tyler Seguin has sex, right? Got to trade him, right? Beginning of a contract that looks pretty good. Let's get rid of him. And they put it out this spin zone thing, and everyone was like, shouldn't have shared that. You guys look bad. So
I agree with Metal Stoops, though. It's like you kind of have to respect them for putting it out there, even if it makes them look bad. Or
better than them not doing it. That's for sure.
If you're going to be doing one of those shows, like the Behind the Bee show, like you can't just like cut and trash everything that's actually interesting.
I'll say, in fairness, like my thought on the Bruins and their handling of the Brad Marchand thing has. My estimation of them has gone up since I initially saw that he was traded, because at first you think they trade him to the team that has owned that ass for the last 2 years, really going on 3 years now, and all you get is a second-round pick. And then you think, oh, well, maybe Marchand was using his no trade control to say this is where I want to go. You find out that's kind of what happened. You also find out that they had a number that was not insulting, but it was for sure coming in under his market value. They made a decision on, we don't want to pay him this much. We think we're going to stink for a little bit. Not quite what I would have done, but even like Marchand, and maybe he's just saying the right things. Like everyone seems to be able to wrap their head around how it went down. So I'm not as aghast with the Bruins over the Marchand handling as I was initially. I disagree with them, but it's like the whole thing of like, can you believe this happened? Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about it, but I can believe it.
And the fact that we talked about it for months beforehand means that it was always a possibility.
Exactly.
I think you put it right. Like I understand it. I don't agree with it, but I can wrap my head around it now.
Sean, I don't know if Pete's in for this game, but if any of us go to this game, we have to discuss now. What would you wear?
Oh, I'm wearing my Sabres jersey.
Dominic Hasek Sabres jersey?
Yeah, that's the go-to for.
There was talk before the show that after revisiting all this Jack Eichel stuff, you want to go with the sign that said "fuck Jack Eichel."
Yeah,
that would be so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about signs at this game too. Like just like a big sign that says "Kiss me." I'm a depressed Sabres fan. I feel like Bruins fans would enjoy that too. Like
you'd probably get some kisses, bro.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like I want to go and just be like, yeah, I know.
I think there's like a fairly significant portion of the Whatnot fan base that is a Sean appreciator.
I appreciate
definitely.
I appreciate
in like a romantic way.
I appreciate the appreciators.
So.
Hold up a sign that says "Please kiss me."
Can I have a kiss, please?
No reason for it. Just you wanna?
Especially if I'm sitting up in the 300s on St. Patrick's Day, I am not leaving there without getting kissed. I don't think.
As discussed, though, like you might be getting kissed by like the union guys.
I might be getting kissed by some knuckles.
Knuckle sandwich. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Depends on my behavior. Depends on if the Sabres decide to win.
Speaking of appreciation, I had the best interaction over the weekend. I was wearing my Utah Hockey Club. I was in a cafe and I was Utah sweatshirt. Walked by a guy. He was like, "Utah Hockey Club," and I was like, "You got it, brother." He was like, "I think I follow you and watch some of your stuff. Is your name DJ?" I said, "Yes, it is." I was like, "Are you a Bruins fan?" He was like, "No. I'm from," I think he said he was from Seattle. He was like, "I really just like the whole NHL. But the reason I know you is that my girlfriend is from Edmonton, so really likes your show."
Oh, nice.
And I was like, that's the first like Edmonton whatnot love.
He's a whatnot-in-law.
Boston I've ever seen.
Whatnot-in-law.
He's a whatnot-in-law.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was a huge head or anything, but he was just like, I don't know. I haven't seen any sort of. I think I ran into one Oilers fan in Boston in my days. Where are the preeminent North American, or I should say American, Oilers show?
That's right.
Definitely.
There's a Whatnot in my Bible study class, which
that rocks. Did we
very
ever
unexpected place for a Whatnot.
Did we ever mention that there was a Whatnot?
Whatnots are finding Jesus
at the PWHL game last week.
What's up?
There was a Whatnot at the PWHL game.
Yeah, wearing the hat on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Shout out to that person.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Before you get out of here, please like this video. If you enjoyed the show, hammer that like button. It is the thumbs up button right below the video player. We very much appreciate you. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that as well. We're climbing. Those numbers are climbing. We love to see it. Thank you to everybody for listening. And if you're on audio, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those good places. We'll appreciate your support wherever you gave it to us.
And we will talk to you.
Oh, but guest reveal for tomorrow or no?
Yeah, we can do it. There was some question, but yeah, we'll do it tomorrow on the show. From the Columbus Blue Jackets, the great
Kent Johnson, baby. KJ on the show.
And he rules. If you want Mountain Valley water talk, that's what it is. So get ready. We'll talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.